What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. Your host, Matt Johnson here. Happy Friday to everyone out there. Wanted to start today's show by going over an announcement we have that was made yesterday by Bulls center Nikola Vuchovich. He will be 35 years old by the time next season starts in the last year of his deal, and it's his 15th NBA season he'll be embarking on. Before the 2025-26 season tips off, he'll be playing in the 2025 FIBA Eurobasket tournament for Montenegro, which starts at the end of August. There's a strong chance that this is the last time that he's going to compete for his national team, and Vuchovich has been playing for Montenegro since he was drafted, first starting during the 2011 NBA lockout. So this is kind of notable because it kind of makes you wonder what his NBA plans are and how much longer he's going to continue playing. Despite being born in Switzerland, his father is Montenegrin, and that kind of explains why he has the aspiration to play for Montenegro and has done so for years. They then moved back to Montenegro after a long time in Belgium, where his father played professionally. So he moved around Europe, and ultimately that's where his Montenegrin roots lie there. If he could lead Montenegro to a Eurobasket championship, however, that would automatically enter them into the FIBA World Cup in 2026. I feel like if they do that, it may be hard for him to pass that up in competing in that. So that'll be something to watch there for Vuce. He'll be joined by only one other NBA player, Javonte Green, who has dual citizenship within Montenegro and the United States. I thought that was an interesting nugget there for that situation. If Vuchovich is already considering retirement from international play, however, though, that's the major story here. It makes you kind of think how much longer he'll play in the NBA. That is worth noting. For his future with the Chicago Bulls, I've talked about him and profiled him pretty much from when the jump of this show started. I don't know if he fits into the Chicago Bulls plans moving forward, and if he's going to be a piece to what the Bulls are building going forward. It makes a lot of sense for him to move out of town here. But to this point, he still remains a Chicago Bull. And with this announcement, he will be playing starting in August for Montenegro. So I'm kind of shifting gears to another guy I've been covering for the longevity of this show. That's Jonathan Kaminga. We have an interesting report and a new one at that about him. The 22-year-old desires a move to Chicago. And this is, he's had interest in the Chicago Bulls, but this is the first time he's publicly come out and said that he has a desire to play in the Bulls organization. There's one massive roadblock to any Kaminga sign and trade deal that's going to get done, though, and that's Josh Giddey in that situation with the Bulls restricted free agent. It's interesting because Josh Giddey is rumored to have been in Vegas during the entirety of this Bulls Summer League slate. Hasn't gone to any of their games, so that speaks to kind of the pain he's feeling during these negotiations and the displeasure that he is kind of seeing with this Bulls organization and front office at the moment. So when it comes to Kaminga, the strong athletic combo forward, he was picked one spot after Giddey in the 2021 draft. I thought that was an interesting coincidence there. He would fit well, and I've talked about him many times in the past during my show here, but he would fit this Bulls team very well. He'd play a great role there. I think the Bulls are definitely starting to prioritize players of that archetype there. Apparently, he and his camp agree, or at least agreed, that the Bulls are a destination that would make a lot of sense for him. So one other team that has jumped into the sweepstakes for Jonathan Kaminga are the Phoenix Suns. They have shown a lot of interest in pulling him to Phoenix there. And with Bradley Beal leaving, that could make a lot of sense for Phoenix going forward. So we'll continue to watch Jonathan Kaminga and what happens there as we've done for the last couple of months here. So I want to kind of update you guys on these guys as we move through the rest of the NBA offseason as the Summer League comes to a close, because these are two important pieces to potential landing spots that could end up being with the Chicago Bulls. So switching gears here, back to the Summer League finale for the Chicago Bulls. That will kick off tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. The Bulls will take on the Utah Jazz in the finale of the NBA Summer League. The Bulls are currently sitting at a 3-point favorite. The total sitting at 186.5 here. Bulls are minus 155 on the money line. You can get the Jazz at plus 130. This is the first time during the entirety of the summer league that the Bulls have been favored. It's of no surprise they've played really good ball the last few times out. They have a chance to finish this summer league slate above 500 at 3-2. I'm hopeful for a solid closing performance from guys like Lachlan Olbrich, Noah Senge if he goes. Jameer Young looking to build off of that record-setting performance he had for the Bulls in the summer league last time out. And then Yuki Kawamura, I think with him, it's a big moment for him tonight to get the final shot to kind of prove himself on why he deserves to get a opportunity moving forward with the Chicago Bulls. To give you guys a prediction in this one, I think the Bulls will win and cover the -3. I think the best bet, if you're looking to put something down on this, is Bulls money line. They've come out hot the last couple of games. I expect that to continue. This group is playing well, and there are a couple of guys on this roster who are going to be playing for those final two-way contracts. So a lot to prove, and I think they'll come out hungry, and I think they'll show that and ultimately come away with the victory here. That leads me into I want to wrap things up today by looking at a roundup of this Chicago Bulls organization, more specifically the Summer League bunch, as the slate comes to a close tonight. There's, again, like I stated, there are two-way roster spots up in the air at the moment. Emmanuel Miller, Jameer Young, and Lachlan Olbrich are the three that are going to be up for those spots. Lachlan Olbrich is a lock to keep his spot. They already signed him to that two-way deal upon being drafted in the second round. But he still has a lot to work on. I expect him to come out and play hard tonight. He's definitely not shown his best self so far in the Summer League slate. I mean, he's shown flashes, but too inconsistent, and certainly a lot of work to be done for Lachlan Olbrich. As expected, I mean, as a second rounder, he's a very raw talent. Excited to see him get the nod in the finale tonight. I would say the biggest performances and the biggest, things on the line for these players tonight. Emmanuel Miller, a very critical performance for him tonight. Jameer Young as well, looking to build upon that. Jameer Young, of course, made a strong case to stay, dropping a Summer League franchise record 40 points against the Milwaukee Bucks last time out. So made a strong case. The G League phenom is going to most likely stick around for Chicago. The real question, though, lies with Emmanuel Miller. He's yet to make a serious impact in the 4 Summer League games to this point. Consistently strong performances from Yuki Kawamura could put this spot up in the air. I think the problem with Yuki, though, and I talked about this last episode, is that Yuki doesn't necessarily have a spot in a loaded backcourt, making it virtually pointless to sign him to that last two-way roster spot. So if it were to come down to Yuki, unless he really came out tonight and balled out, I think it'll be interesting to watch how they handle that. It makes just a lot of sense to kind of move on from Yuki, given where this organization's at. You don't want to sign a guy where he has no value and no spot in a rotation there. So I just think when you look at Emmanuel Miller, though, if he can play solid in the finale and show why the team gave him a two-way contract in the first place, he'll boost his chances of remaining on the team. It was yet another quiet outing for Miller the last time out, so he's kind of struggled to get going, and he needs a solid performance tonight. So there's a lot of pressure on those guys like that in the finale tonight against the Utah Jazz. Makes it exciting to tune in and kind of see how that shakes out there. When you look at this Bulls team, and not even just this young Bulls bunch in the Summer League, but overall, I think the Bulls are clearly leaning into a defensive-first identity moving forward, something that they haven't really leaned into in prior years here. I think the acquisition of Isaac Okoro in the Lonzo Ball deal hinted at that shift and was a big moment for that push towards a defense-first mindset there. And then selecting Noah Senge in the draft is even more obvious there as to what they're pushing for, and that's defense. And I think Noah Senge is a solid young player when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. So when you pair Okoro and that move with Noah, I think it makes a very apparent transition to that side of the game there for the Bulls. Outside of Modest, though, and this is where it's a bit concerning, outside of Modest, Senge, and Okoro, and Patrick Williams even, I'd consider him an elite defender. The roster falls short of reliable defensive contributors, and that is something that the Bulls are going to have to kind of work through. I think while the rest of the core brings plenty of offensive firepower, at least to why Nikola Vuchovich is still a Chicago Bull, Kobe White, Josh Giddey, and Ayo Dosunmu, all offensive contributors in a big way, and we've seen that from them, but they've all struggled on the defensive side of things, and that's something that the Bulls are going to have to emphasize. And I think adding pieces like Okoro and hopefully they can get a deal done with Josh Giddey to bring him back. He definitely bolsters the defense. And Noah Sang, I like a lot of what I see so far during his time in the Summer League about what he brings to that side of the ball. So overall, you're going to see the emphasis continue to be on defense for this team. I'm looking forward to some big-time implications for these young guys in this Summer League matchup tonight against the Utah Jazz. There are two-way roster spots on the line, so we will see what happens. Again, I think the Bulls walk away with a victory tonight. If you guys have anything you want to see out of this Bulls team as we hit the Summer League finale and move into the brunt of the offseason, let me know. Who do you think deserves a shot to be on this roster moving forward? Who would you want to see stay in terms of the veterans? I know I've heard a lot of you guys say you want to keep Kobe more than Ayo Dosunmu. However, I've seen opinions where Ayo Dosunmu is more valued as well from Bulls fans. So be interesting to hear what you guys have to say. Again, thanks for joining me on another episode of Bulls Latest. Everyone have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.